What up, y'all? It's Chris Weathers, aka Shorty C94, back at you again with episode 66 of Shorty Sneaker Conversations. Today's guest is Souls and Things. See if we can get him right quick. Okay, what's up, everybody joining? Welcome, welcome. What's
Hey,
up,
what's up,
sir?
man?
How you feeling?
I'm good, man.
Okay, man. Well, welcome. Shorty Sneaker Conversations, man. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for
Um,
having me on.
oh, no problem, man. No problem. Well, before we get started, I do have to ask you, like I ask all guests, what's the most positive thing you've been able to take, just from the world since the pandemic has started?
I actually think it's made me more picky, which like what I buy now and stuff like that. I think before I used to get all kinds of nonsense, and just like not even know why I was buying these random pairs of Reeboks or Adidas or whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Uh, I've been guilty of that in the past myself. But, for everybody who doesn't, know who you are that's joining live, tell everybody, who you are if you don't mind.
So my real name's Jesus. I'm in Dallas, and I'm a full-time teacher. And obviously, I have an issue with sneakers. Um, I think it's been, a while. I think back there in the early 90s, it kind of, started little by little, picked up steam, and, here we are. But I got two kids, married, and I mean, I think I've done okay.
Okay. Okay. So you said Dallas. So are you a Mavericks fan?
Yeah, big time, man. And
Big time.
Cowboys fan.
Okay. And Cowboys. Okay.
Unfortunately, a Cowboy fan.
Hey, I live in North Carolina now, but I'm from Cleveland, man. I mean, y'all got to experience greatness multiple times from Tony Dorsett to Aikman to Emmitt Smith to Dion. I mean, Jim Brown was a little bit before my time, so I didn't even get to see him. So, you know,
I think I can speak for most Cowboy fans, man. We're just praying the day Jerry either leaves or gets a GM. Yeah, we just so confused with Jerry Jones, man.
yeah. I mean, y'all are in a pretty favorable division too. So, what I'm saying, I think it'll be okay. Yeah,
No,
NFC.
I agree with you on that. If we were somewhere else, I think we'd be struggling every year, man.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I do have to ask, what shoe you broke out today?
Oh, I actually wore I got it right here. One of the Pendleton Air Force One. This is one that I wear a whole lot.
Ooh, okay, those are nice.
Like I actually went kind of crazy and made a whole bunch of these since there was nothing really coming out that I liked. And the quality is not bad, to be honest. And a lot of these IDs, the suede and everything's pretty decent.
Yeah, my wife has a blazer and a 90. I don't have any Pendletons. I'm kind of ashamed to say I don't for as many ideas as I have, but I've never been able to,
That
you
that
know.
Pendleton's one, if it comes back, you should probably try them out. That remember the denim option they had for a while?
Hmm.
There was another one, a denim. Well, elephant print might never come back, but that was a decent one on the Air Max one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a. Even if I could find a used one somebody made, like I had made one. I want to say it was either last year or year before. It was a '97, but I never ended up, ordering it. So, now if they ever come back, I'll definitely grab one. That one you made is nice though, man. It's
I was
hot.
going to tell you the last time I was at a Mercer when the bespoke, but that was still open. The guy was saying that Jordan Brand kind of got pissed off at that elephant print option, and they were gonna pull it for probably for a while, like a long while. I think that's why we haven't seen it in a long time.
Hmm. Well, I guess they can put it on Trenners and other shoes that look like Jordans.
Another junk. Yeah,
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 Trainer Yates looks like the three, but it's not. I
yeah.
guess. Well, we'll jump into the first quarter. First quarter is sneaker beginnings. So, what was your earliest kind of memory with sneakers?
I think maybe like the early 90s, man. It was well, obviously a lot of Payless shoes, like a lot of people out there. If it was, $20 or less, pretty much, that was kind of what you were getting. Not even the Keems were, part of my shoes back then because the Keems were, top tier, Payless, whatever. Um, I had a Nike Suede GTS, I think like
Mm,
all black, which is probably one of the earliest ones I ever bought, for myself. Uh, that Emerald up tempo, I think the 95 up tempo, and then I had an Air Flight that I got at Ross. Those were like my earliest, like I went out and bought them with my own money and stuff like that.
it's pretty good. It's surprising that the GTS has kind of made a comeback because, I mean, we're old, so we remember, but the GTS was hot, like 95, 96, going into 97. Like everybody had a pair of GTSs, man.
You wear them with anything, man. It was almost like the way people wear Chucks or the way people wear All Star stuff like that. I just remember
Yeah.
it was like super soft that suede, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, it was like what, $20 at Marshalls, like can't beat that.
Yeah. And then I don't feel like they've come out with the Air Max up tempo as much here, maybe since the pandemic. But I feel like really all the way through 19, there would always be some Air Max up tempos around. But they really hold on to that white, black, and teal one. I don't understand it. I know it. I think it came out maybe in 15 last time. I know it came out like in 11, but before that, it hadn't come out since like '03. Like they really hold on to that one.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of the Pippen one though, man. That Pippen was everywhere,
Yeah,
like,
too much.
way too many colors if you ask me, man.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, those are some pretty good ones starting off. Now, what was that shoe that really just made you like, all right, I'm in this? Like what was that next shoe? It was like, I'm in this now.
I think I was it's probably I think around college, either freshman year, something like that. I started getting to like the older Jordans, and I had found my first pair of some call it that Cherry 13 or whatever. I was just like some white and red 13. I like it, so I found
Mm.
my first pair on eBay. I went crazy and got five dead stock pairs, like a matter of months, right? And I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I buying so many of the same shoe? And I knew that's when it was coming.
Nah, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Well, you're in college now. You kind of are in the game. What was that first shoe that really people were really noticing? Like, oh, I can't believe you have that shoe. Or how did you get that shoe? Was it those 13s or was it another shoe?
Nah, I think it was the Indiglos hadn't been retro that 14,
Mm-hmm.
and I had gotten like a used pair and a brand new pair, so I had I think a couple at the time, and well, it was most like the older guys, my age or older, once they would see that shoe, they're like, okay, that's a dope shoe. But like the kids obviously had no idea. They thought they were fake 14s, just like the rest of my other older shoes were also, fake this, fake that, like the DMP 11, because he had a gold jump, man, that whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
it was 30-year-olds, and up. They were like, oh, okay, that's a dope shoe. And I was like, oh, I made the mistake wearing it on a really hot summer day to Ranger game. And yeah, it got pretty damaged after that. Because, old shoes and, heat and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know with some of the OG 14s that I still have, those teeth are real sticky. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Yeah.
paper in the box, it's like stuck to the shoe. So I've I know what you mean, with that. And I still have my indigos, but yeah, I mean they're super oxidized. Like, you know.
You're scared to wear them every day.
I mean, because of the Phylon, I'm not as scared. It's more of a separation than a crumble, but it's still like, still a 22, 23-year-old shoe. So you are
Yeah.
kind of walking light, like, you know. So, because my wife asked me, she was like, because she got a pretty good collection. She was like, so with the crumble shoes, I mean, what are you gonna do with them? And I didn't really have an answer for her, but it's like I don't want to. Some of them I've thrown away, but some of them I don't really want to throw away just
I'm
because
gonna
of.
see if I'm gonna see if I can convince you. Hold on to them. And I've been going through like my ones that I can't wear anymore. And I want to repurpose them. Like,
Ah,
because I just got into leather work recently. So I want
oh,
to see, what I can make with like old shoes that obviously you can't wear anymore. But that'll be the long run.
and that Air Force One, that was a leather and mesh one. You don't really see those like you used to back in the day.
No, they're dead, man. A lot of those shoes, and people don't realize it if they're, that 10, 15 year range, whatever, like good luck. You can wear it, but you might not have a midsole to, step on. And that's what I see a lot with these older shoes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, with you getting, you said, early '90s is really kind of when you got into it. Were there any sneaker influencers around you? Whether it was somebody, an older cousin, a sibling, or somebody on TV, even maybe that kind of inspired you to get into the kicks.
I mean, as far as TV, I mean, obviously, like just with Jordans and Fresh Prince and stuff like that, Martin, you would always see, like the Jordans. But I honestly, just like other friends, like growing up, like the ones that actually had like, jobs that paid a little bit more money, they were always, spoiling themselves with like pennies, hyper flights, those kind of things. So you were looking over like, okay, I want that, I want that, I want that. And it's almost like you were making your list, like when I can get the money, I'm gonna get those. So nothing like other than just like the people we would all see on TV.
Nah, I got you. I got you. It's interesting. You brought up the Hyperflight. That kind of came out right around the time the Presto did. The Alpha Project.
Yeah.
I was just thinking. They kind of with that shoe specifically, or those two shoes, they kind of marketed them the same with all the colors and all of the. You know what I mean? So bringing those up brings a lot of memories. I didn't really like them for actual basketball. That was like strictly indoor only. Like you tried to wear them outside playing basketball, you destroy them.
Yeah,
But
and you would I saw when we played outside, the grip wasn't as good. Like we would kind of almost be falling over and stuff. Those and the turbines, it was the same thing.
yeah, another very similar shoe to that as well. I was actually looking for a pair of turbines to see what colors I come up with on, any of the sites of Macari. I was only able to I found a green pair and I found a black pair, but if I was gonna get some turbines now, I would want like orange or yellow or something kind of bright and out there.
Yeah. I
But
had that orange pair, and it was funny because it was our college colors, UTD, because we're the comments, and it was like it was a perfect color, and it was another, Ross special for like $25.
I could imagine they probably was flooded. You know, being from Cleveland, like we didn't get Ross in Cleveland until like right before the pandemic. So we had other similar stores of Burlington, Marshalls, and stuff, but nothing quite like Ross. But I could imagine.
Well,
Uh,
Ross now is not, what Ross used to be, man. Like Ross now is like $70 for this, really.
yeah, it's even changed. Like we've been in North Carolina since August of 20. Even when we first got here, it was different than it is now. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's high. Or I'm at another closeout store and it's some KD9s like randomly there and they're like $100 still. And I'm like, come on, man. Old ass shoe, man. Let me get this shit for $50 or less, man. 50 is really too much, but
Well, it's funny because the Ross over here by our house, it was like $30 or less, pretty much, and it was like original Indiglows, Turbines, Hyperflights, Iversons, Tempos, anything. If it was
mhm,
over $30, nobody would buy it.
yeah,
So I mean,
yeah. Now I will say at Burlington, I've seen a lot of Iversons here lately, but they've all been like probably ones they shouldn't have made, the Minions ones and the Candylands. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I have some of that stuff in the cut just because I was able to get it for cheap. But uh, yeah, when I see them there, stuff like that, but no red toes or blue toes, nothing really good like that. So I feel it. But I remember what you're talking about too. You know, nothing over 30 or $40, man. Wouldn't make it. So I feel you.
yeah, even the Prestos, man. I remember the Prestos being super cheap.
Yeah, and all of the different variations of Presto Changeo, Presto Cage, a bunch of different Prestos. In the years following the regular one. So I
Yeah.
remember that. But we'll jump into the second quarter, which is more recent sneaker past. So When you first started copying your own kicks, what was that first job that really afforded you your kicks?
Well, honestly, it was around the time I first started teaching because this is my 16th, 17th year now. So it was buying the cheap stuff like that. And then it was like, what's coming out, like what do I like? And at that time, before kids, it was like I like everything. You say you need everything, which we're lying to ourselves. We don't need everything. But it was like I want that one and that one and that one, and here you go buying something almost every week. But I mean, like if anybody has kids before kids, you're able to do that.
Yeah,
Buying all these shoes for no reason, but then kids come along, you kind of like scale down.
yeah, yeah. Now, going back to when you first started teaching, was there a sneaker L you took back then on a shoe like you were never able to just kind of put your hands on it like you wanted it and just, for whatever reason you never copped it?
The only one, man, that I guess regret it was the Red October, and
Ah,
there's a story behind that because the only real community that I've been a part of was it was a little group of guys, like older guys. We used to go by the name of the Mall Walker Mafia, right? The Mall Walkers. But
that's cool.
we were running a bot back when bots weren't really a thing. So we
Mhm.
would run a bot and go after like our one size. I want this 10.5. So they would all be like, okay, we're gonna get you your 10.5. Like to me, that was a real community. And we shut off the bot because it was coming, it wasn't coming, it was gonna get released, that whole back and forth, right? Well, it just so happened we shut it off that Sunday. And on my way back from a workout, I see the alert on the phone, and nobody out of like the 10, 15 dudes were able to get a single pair, man. And that's when I was like, golly, man, like if we had just left that bot running.
Yeah, the eighth anniversary of that is tomorrow.
Hey, you never know with Nike, man.
Yeah, February 9th, 2014. I feel like honestly that release specifically is what made Nike come up with the sneakers app, because
You're right. I think you're right.
after like I want to say 6 months or a year after that release, let's say probably a year. I think sneakers came out in 15. I think that's when they released the app. But yeah, I think it was because of that. Because that Twitter link thing, it would be kind of difficult sometimes to get the shoes, if it wasn't
Yeah.
super gr. So yeah, I remember being at work trying to win them, and I just wanted them because I have the other two. So I was like, I need this red one, but I just I can't pay the money for.
It's not worth it, man. I'm with you. Like, I mean, they say that, like the market this, the market that, but I mean, you got brains. Like, I'm really gonna drop these many thousands on this other pair of shoes. Like, nah.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Now, do you have any regrettable purchases? Like, man, why did I buy these from, when you really first started copping?
I mean, probably just like stuff I already got rid of. Like, like random like $100 pairs that you get on sale or clearance, you wear it for a while and either give them away or just pretty much trash them. Like, if I can donate them, I just kind of throw them out. But no like big purchase.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, the game was really different, 2013, 2014. I kind of missed the way it was then just because even though there were a lot of lines and a lot of, hectic releases, I always say the Adidas Yeezy is what killed first come, first serve. Um,
Yeah.
that's what really made the retailers start going digital
No, because
because,
it was pretty hectic for a while, like you're saying, with that and even the Ultra Boost, man. Like you couldn't find them anywhere. Any Ultra Boost. I remember the days.
yeah, NMDs too. Like, being a store manager at that time, the tubular series kind of wetted the palate of some of the customers who still wanted that look like, hey, I got these tubular dooms, I got these tubular X's. They sort of look like the Yeezys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't the same, or the tubular runner. It sort of looks like an Ultra Boost, but it's not Boost in its, So yeah, that whole era was interesting, and um, people always debate with me. But I said, look, man, I love Nike, but Adidas won 2015 and 16. Those were
No, it
their.
was it was it was bad everywhere, man. Like you're saying, if you didn't know somebody, like you weren't getting an Ultra Boost, like something that simple, like. And
Yeah,
it was funny because we slowly started falling out, like that group of guys. We started having kids, stuff like that. So we kind of just fell apart, right? But it was that time where we were pretty much touching anything. Like if we wanted a shoe, we knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. And it was like there's a guy in the Philippines, what's coming out overseas. Let him know ahead of time we're getting it. There is something coming out of Houston because only Houston's getting it. We know a guy in Houston. Send him your list, like he's getting it. So it's like at that point, I guess we were spoiled because it's like you were just like, okay, we're getting it. But now it's like, yeah, that's not happening.
yeah. How far is it? How far is the drive from Dallas to Houston?
Oh, it's a good 4 hours, man. Like I was never driving 4 hours for no shoe.
Wow. So is Dallas closer to San Antonio then?
That's about a 5 hour drive.
Let's
So
see.
it's yeah, it's not close. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Wow.
But I mean, like at that point, man, it was even people in Canada. We had a couple of guys out there. I still keep in touch with a couple of them. So like, you got a Canadian only, release. Let's call Daryl. Let's call Chris. Let's call whoever. So it was I mean, it was good. I'm not gonna lie, but with time, like things happen or whatever, and we again don't need every shoe.
Sure. Sure. Now, this is a part of Sneaker Pass. I have to ask this. What's a couple of questions that are kind of sports slash sneaker tied. Now, obviously, with you being a Mavericks fan, it's undoubtable, you know, Dirk is y'all greatest player of all time, right?
Oh yeah.
So I know that he had Nike sneakers with his name on them, and they were kind of like more on the budget side. Were you surprised that they didn't really give him a true SIG?
I think they should have given him a shoe, man. Like I wonder that too. I mean, but I guess you don't think of it because you have or want so many other, different kicks. But I was like, I mean, he's the face of Dallas, and he was pretty much the face of the Mavericks for forever.
Yeah.
And for them not to give him, something bigger, kind of does suck.
Yeah, because I know he had that Air Force One. There was a Terminator that Undefeated released for him, but it was only at Undefeated because I have the LeBron version. And again, they had a couple of budget shoes, sort of like Paul Pierce, but they actually made them for adults. But yeah, I always kind of wondered why. Because I mean, I know he had a couple of little, you know, commercials, but I don't understand. Even after they won, like I'm like,
I mean, because look at like Tony Parker, he had a couple of shoes that I feel might be way better than Dirk. Like even with that Air Force series or whatever they had, with the faces on the sides and stuff.
mm-hmm.
Like where's the Dirk? Like we got Omari, we got Kobe, we got all these other players. Like throw them a bone, Like
Yeah,
I think that's kind of sorry.
yeah, because I mean, I never understood that. I mean, they even showed a lot of love to Nash. I mean, they gave him an Air Max 90. Um, I mean, the the Zoom BB was kind of like his unofficial shoe.
Yeah.
Uh, I know he wore the Turbine, but it was another shoe. I can't think of it. It was around the same time. It was called the Jet or something. It was around that same time, but they were like his shoes without being his shoes, kind of. But
Didn't it have like a scrap, I think? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, and a big swoosh.
Yeah.
It'll yeah,
Yeah.
it was sort of like a shock stunner, but without the shocks, and it was low top. I just can't. I can't. I'll figure it out after the show is over. I'll send you. Send
Yeah,
you.
but I remember the strap. I remember that strap for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact name, but yeah, I just I know that they got all those guys in '03. They had Wade and Bosch with Converse. Nike owns Converse, and Wade, Kobe, LeBron, Melo got all those guys at once. But you know, I mean, even
I
Vince
mean, but the
five.
only cool thing though, to tell you the truth, I have a friend that does have a dirt P,
Okay,
like an actual like I think it's even getting worn, and he's been wondering like how do we get him to sign it? I'm like, first of all, how do we track down Dirt? Like, I mean, I know he makes it to the Maverick games, but not like before. So I
Yeah,
mean, we've been trying to like come up with this, plan of like how do we get a hold of Dirk and how do we get him to sign. I'm like, it's probably easier to get Jason Kidd to sign. Look, now that he's here again,
yeah, yeah.
and those kids are getting retro. So let's start thinking, about that.
Yeah, I was gonna actually talk about that next. Now, I know at one point, y'all had Jason Kidd, Jamal Mashburn, and my
Oh,
dude,
Jimmy Jackson,
yeah,
man.
my dude from Ohio State, Jimmy Jackson.
Oh man, you know where this is going, right? The whole Tony Braxton scandal.
Well, no, I will skip over that. You know, and that being a thing when I was in high school. But where is that Zoom Flight 5 black retro? Where is it? That is like a Dallas shoe. I mean, the only thing I could think of that's either that or more Dallas than that was if they ever brought back the Michael Finley, some of those 15s he had. You know what I mean?
I,
Like,
I like those Finley PEs, man. They had some nice colors too. Like
yeah,
people hate a lot of those models, but a lot of those PEs, they're nice. Like they're real nice.
yeah. Like, and I remember when eBay was new, you could get those for like dirt, like less than
Oh
a
yeah.
real. Like, I just wish I'd have been more on it back in the day, but I need that black Zoom Flight 5. Like, it's cooler bringing back the black and gray Zoom Flight 95, but this is like the third retro, so I'm not really that excited. I do need a new pair, but
Yeah.
I'd be more excited if it was the Flight 5 because I know they've offered it on ID. They've retroed it a few times in the white Mavericks colorway, but I really need that black one.
It's funny because one popped up today on a seller online. He had a Phoenix Sun with a 32 on it, which
Mm,
is crazy because I'm like, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it come up a lot. And I was like, that was surprising.
yeah, yeah. So obviously, again, Dirk is the top Maverick, and we're old, so I'm sure you can remember some of Rolando Blackman and Mark Aguirre. But how big was that Mashburn, Jason Kidd, and Jimmy Jackson? How big was that for
It,
Dallas?
it was, man, they had songs, well, the three J's, they had posters, everything, man. And I mean, even though they were that big, we weren't that great, like it was still just the Mavericks, but I think it was just they were young and like I guess they were kind of fun to watch and stuff. So I think people just kind of, followed them for that. But it wasn't like we're destroying, teams or if Michael was coming, we're gonna go see Michael. Like nobody was seeing the three J.
Or Shaq was coming. I'm going to see.
Oh,
Got you.
yeah, everybody was coming to see, the other guys or whatever. Like you weren't going to see three J's.
I
But
got it.
no, those Mashburn shoes, man, those I remember seeing them for so cheap and passing on them time and time again. That kind of sucked. I regret that.
Oh, the Phillies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot, the one pair he has with the little swirl on them on the midsole. Those are in stores now. I can't think of what they're called, but I remember he had this other shoe called the 2A that was sort of popular, but it wasn't as good as the one that's out now. But yeah, good times. Now,
No, they were dope, man.
yeah,
And Jimmy Jackson actually lasted a while until he kind of, like just got old.
that dude has played for so many teams, though.
All the jerseys, right? All
Yeah,
the jerseys.
I mean, the only player I can think of that's probably played for more teams than him is probably like Corey Brewer. He's played for a lot of teams, but yeah,
He's got the whole collection of the whole league. Like,
yeah, it's like all in one room, framed. Now, with you being from Dallas, let's talk a little bit about the sneaker culture there. Like the dude I think of when I mean, there's a few people I've had on the show, from Dallas, these Sneaker Freak Sid, trying to get Polos and J's on here, but what's the scene like there?
I would, to be honest, man, I think it's kind of what we see everywhere now. Like, I think a few years back, it was kind of rare for you to see, people that were really into shoes. I mean, people were into shoes. It just wasn't taking over like it is now. It wasn't like an 8 year old and everybody else and their mom and their cousin and their uncle, and the tiny 3 year old are into it. Like everybody's into it. And I don't think it's just that they're into it because they like and wear the shoes. Obviously, is everybody's reselling. So it's almost like pretending like you're into kicks in a way, At least that's the way I see it. So I mean, I guess just in it to make money and whatever else, but not really. get into it to either buy and wear the stuff.
Yeah, and again, I made a statement about it on Facebook, posted it on here too. You know, as old people, you know, we're not all gatekeepers, but it is a challenge sometimes to not call out some of the posers if it's something you really love. Like we love sneakers, so it's like, come on, man, you ain't really in this for real. But I really have to fight, you know, doing that sometimes. You know, it's not as hard as it was, but some people do perpetrate with it. So you hit it on the nail on the head with you saying that, you know. But you know, let's I guess jump to the third quarter, which is sneaker presence. You know, the game is different. But what's one
Oh, it's a whole different game, man.
now?
Whole different game.
What's I'm gonna flip it though. What's one thing that you disliked about how the game was?
Honestly, here in Dallas, it's because we didn't really have a lot of like shops. It was a couple of mom and pops. So I guess that kind of did suck before it blew up. So it's almost like good and bad, which is weird, you know? It was like, okay, I want to be able to find more kicks here locally, and we couldn't. It was just like the malls, stuff like that. And there's your two mom and pop shops. But it's funny because now you have almost no mom and pop shops, and it's the consignment takeover.
Yeah,
And now we're like, okay, this is cool, but you still don't have any of the old stuff I want. You're selling every single thing that came out in the last 12 months,
yeah,
and you got them for way over what I'm ever gonna pay you. So
yeah.
it's almost like I guess I kind of did want more of the sneaker game, here in Dallas. And now that I have it, I'm like, man, I had it good back then. Like, what was that? What was I asking for?
Nah,
Like,
I feel that. Like there are a lot of shops down here. Like there's a shop in Greensboro I went to, and you know, 'cause Greensboro is probably about 30 miles from here. And there's a nice shop. They had a used section as well as new. But they had like a hype wall, and like every Kobe they had was on the hype wall. And I'm like, man, all the Kobe's are on the hype wall.
every single Kobe.
Everyone, like this fucking Vino wine one that was like a $80 budget Kobe 10 before he passed. Like this is on the hype wall. So
It's funny you bring up Kobe because part of that mall walker crew, it was a guy that's a doctor, right? So he was really in good with the district manager at one of our malls, and that dude would show up the night before the release and just give the guy like a number. These are how many Kobe's I need tomorrow, and then he would just show up and pick up the 10, 15, 20, 25 pairs. I mean, just no issues, right? So the original Grinch drop, I think that guy probably cleaned them out. But again, to pass along for retail. You know what I mean? It was never for resale in any kind of way. So I never hated that dude for that, because he was just sharing the kicks with everybody.
yeah, and see, I always people, you know, just being from Cleveland, I have a lot of Kobe's, but I still have considerably more LeBrons just because. I mean, I know you remember, you know, Kobe's were like a Foot Locker only thing from like Kobe 2 to like Kobe 6. So,
Yeah.
and then half the time it would be just House of Hoops. So even if it was a good Foot Locker, you still didn't have like the good Kobe's. So,
Well, he had it in good at the House of Hoops here locally. And that
mm,
was one of the, maybe even to this day, one of the bigger ones, like pretty much in the South for sure. So it's like we knew they were gonna get the Batman one, the Grinch, the Chaos, anything. Like if it was a Kobe, House of Hoops was getting it. The Ben series, anything like House of Hoops, it was gonna be right there. So how many bins do you need tomorrow? I need these many. Okay, we're good.
yeah,
Like anything. It was just like, but see, that's the thing, and it's like I never felt no sort of way because it was he gets these many pairs and these many people can get them for retail,
yeah.
and that was always like our thing. No $20 over nothing, man.
See, I can't even picture something like that just because, again, for us, like in Cleveland, we didn't get a House of Hoops until 2013. Like the Bel Air 5 was the first House of Hoops release that, you know, we had. So we missed
That's
a lot
crazy,
of good
man.
shit.
That's crazy. Like
Yeah.
even the when that great first retro back then, like I remember getting off of school and going to a couple of our DK Fit and Casual. They were way big for a while. and just picking up, 10 and a half here, 10 and a half there, 10 and a half here, 10 and a half there, and then just again calling who needs a 10 and a half. Keep in mind who wants the other ones. And that's the thing. Our whole thing was always, I'm gonna get as many as I can and pass them along. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna get as many too and pass them along.
you
And
know,
that, yeah, you just don't see that, man.
yeah, that's good looking out because it's kind of like, oh well, I wasn't able to get them because I had to work or I had to do this or I had to do that, and yeah, nobody really looks out. I mean, it's people. I'm not gonna say that. It's people who have looked out, for me, but yeah, there's no. It's all about money, like you said. It's no looking out now.
Well,
It's
because you know what it is, and I mean, I know you agree. You see the shoe come up, right? Like the news or whatever, and next thing you know, at least most are like, how much money can I make off this shoe? Like it's not even like, do I really like the colorway? Do I like the model? It's like, how much might resale be? At least for a big chunk of the people in the culture right now.
yeah,
Not everybody, obviously. I'm like, if you're thinking about it like that, man, you already messed up. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
like I had to tell this young lady who works at the Nike store near me, because she was like, you got all these shoes, why don't you resell them? And I was like, I don't really have a heart for resale, not true resale the way it's done now. And she was like, what do you mean? And she was like, going in the house done. And I'm like, I understand the business aspect of it. I get the mind. I just don't have the
yeah.
heart for. I can't see getting a Jordan 1 mid for $100 or $120 and selling it to someone for $300. Like that just doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't sit well with my spirit. People are like, man, you should open a store. It's like, nah.
Well, and then you know what's funny when you say that? Not only you're making three, four times retail, but you know that the material and everything's not there. You know what I mean?
Nah.
Like you look at the $100 shoe and you're like, yeah, this shouldn't be $100. Like this has little to no leather in it.
Yeah, and I'm any place that I've worked or managed, especially shoe stores, I'd rather just not sell you the shit, and than you leave with it, be unhappy with it, and come back. I'd rather sell it to you and you be happy with it instead of you being like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, recently we saw those Brad Jordan ones, crib sizes being sold for like 170. And that's why I'm like, you know what? I don't even know where the stopping point is going to be.
Yeah,
Like it's different when you're seeing men's size stuff like that, but a crib size, come on, man.
yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Um, Even grade school resale is strange to me because I really don't feel like that was a thing, as big of a thing pre-pandemic. Because
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I I used to manage for Hibbett Sports, and when the Concord came out in 18, I had like 17 sevens, just sevens. That would never happen now. You know what I mean?
No.
Like the company
Well, and
themselves hold back some of them.
you know what flipped too, man, that my 10 and a half, and you know how common that is. Like if I didn't get the 10 and a half within a few hours of release, like I wasn't getting it, at least not for retail.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a window. Like it releases today at 10. I better hurry up and try to get it before it's sold out, right?
Right.
Now there's 10 and a half. Like I'm like, hold up, nobody was 10 and a half anymore. Oh, resale's not what it is. Okay, I get it. Now it's like you're saying grade school and all these other sizes.
Yeah, like for a while there, Jordan ones. Like if I had a Jordan 1 at Hibbett and it was a like an OG kind of a look with the color blocking and everything, I would sell out instantly from like men's 7 or 7.5 all the way up to 10. But anything 10 and up, I would just 10 to 14, I would just have it. You know what I mean? It would just be sitting there. It'd be like a regular shoe. So I don't know if it's still like that, but that's pre-pandemic. So it may not be like that now, but I know what you mean with that 10 and a half. A regular retro, I'm like all the 10 and a halves, 11s, and 13s are going to be gone normally,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, the resale isn't what it was. But I will say with basketball shoes, especially LeBron's, some KDs, if they're limited, if it's over an 11, it gets weird.
Oh, the 11 and a half, the 12 and a half, those are unicorn sizes. Like good luck with that. Like
Yeah,
might as well go up. Because
Yeah,
he won't find it.
I'm an 11 and a half, but like in LeBron, any performance, I usually just try to get a 12. You know what I'm saying? And it's a
Yeah,
lot.
they're kind of snug. They're kind of snug, so you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a lot of LeBrons, when Nike was still making Kobe's, they would be like considerably more than the 11. So a lot of times it's like, well, I'm just sorry. That was some household stuff in the background. I didn't mean to pause.
You're good.
So yeah, so you get what I'm saying. It'd be weird for certain sizes. So
No, it's hard, man. And my kid right now, the oldest, he's like a 4.5. So I can find him a lot of stuff, but once he gets into those youth that you're talking about, I don't know if I'm gonna be willing to pay resale, man. Like
yeah,
I just can't do it. Especially the way he wears his shoes. You know, kids.
yeah, yeah. Nah, I get you. Now, since we're in sneaker present, what's a shoe that you've gotten over the last couple of years? We'll say a Nike retro that didn't really age well for you.
I mean, honestly, man, anything that comes in that like ashy suede, whatever, like that thunder and all that stuff, I just hate the way that comes out, man. Like, and it's not like the bleeding pain from other retros. It's just like it don't matter what you do with some of those shoes. It just gets. I mean, it happened with the first Oreo 5. I remember how ashy that one used to be, and I was like, how do you clean this? Like, it seems like no matter what you use, like it just like crap, you know. Like, so I kind of stay away from like dark suede like that now. But I would say like maybe not that Red Thunder because I haven't opened the box. Look, I don't even know what it looks like. It's somewhere in there. But like I would say anything from Nike coming with something with that sort of material.
Okay,
Like I kind of know better not to even go after it.
I got you. Yeah, I feel that way. Like to me, the best example of what you're talking about that I experienced was when they came out with the Black Grape in 2013 and they were ashy out the box. Like,
Exactly.
how does that happen? You know what I mean? Like, but
Quality control, right? Where's the quality control?
yeah. And I mean, they made like way too many of the regular grapes, but I don't feel like they made as many of them, but it was still not good quality. Like,
And I like that release, like that black grape you're talking about. Like I like the color, I like the way it went together.
yeah,
But I was like, yeah, I think I know what's coming. The way they built it, I
mm,
was almost like, throw some regular leather on it, see what happens, see what it looks like.
yeah.
Because it was, or mix it up half and half or something. But yeah, that material sucks, man.
Also, when they retro trainers, especially Griffey's, the midsoles they don't crumble, but the paint just be
That
bad.
paint job.
Like, yeah, say Javier trainer, Cavs for same ashy out the box. Yeah, exactly. Where it's not even really black, but yeah, those.
And the way you said about the midsole is so true, man. 'Cause I remember the old Fire Red 3, like the uppers were amazing. And I was like, what's going on with these midsoles, man? Like the True Blues, same thing. Fire Red, same thing. I was
Yeah,
like, I haven't even been wearing them, to this extreme where like all the paint just chipping off left and right, you know?
yeah, like my 2007 Fire Red 3 and the flips, like you said, the uppers are great, but that paint, like, shit.
It's horrible. Remember the Do the Right Thing 3 that people think is amazing now that was ugly then and still looks pretty ugly now? Like, I'm like, I was never a fan of it because it was the same thing. I'm like, the upper's okay, but I know what's going to happen to that midsole and yellow. And I'm like, nah, we're good. But it was just all that, I guess that year, that run, man, it was just bad quality.
Yeah, like I was all about lifestyle Jordans. I've owned most of them, but I never could get with those. I never could get.
It's a little too much going on.
Yeah, but yeah, that year 2007, it was a lot of bad paint because I mean that aqua, I mean all on the menial side. After a couple wears, it would just start chipping. So it was all bad. So yeah, you're right. I mean the only it was weird because they were still new at the time. The Spizikes were cool. They were like made with better quality than your regular retro. You know.
Yeah, they look decent, man. The build looked decent.
Yeah. I mean that playoff 8 right before they started doing the countdown packs was made pretty well, but I always say when they started a retro series back then, the first color would be made the worst.
I think you're right, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where is your go-to place to get shoes now? Or do you
Honestly, man, my motto for the last few years has been retail or nothing. Like I'm older now. I'd rather, spend money on my kids or like other stuff around the house or whatever. I know it sounds corny and boring, but I'm like I just refuse to give somebody extra money for something that I already know don't cost what the retail is telling me. Like if it's a $200 shoe, look, I better get a 200. If it's a $250 shoe, I better get 250. Like it's almost to the point where I'm like, again, I'm not nice to my shoes. I destroy them, I beat them, I do whatever. So I'm not gonna pay you 500 just because you were able to convince somebody to hook you up and then charge me double whatever the case might be. Like I'm not doing that. So anywhere that I can get something for retail, whether it's somebody local, online, whatever, that's just the way I do it now, man. And I mean I've gone up to Mercer. I've been up there 3 times now. So I just rather save the money and if they open back up, go make my own pair out there. Or find something online. Somebody can build me a pair. I've gotten a few built too over the years.
have you?
So I mean, yeah, like I got a couple close by. There's a guy in New Jersey that made me one. There's another guy overseas that made me one. But I mean, I'm not dropping even 1,000 on a Jordan 1 when I can buy maybe $300 worth of hides and get something way better than Jordan Brand's ever gonna sell me.
Yeah,
Like it's just there's no point.
I get you. I get you. Right now, February 2022, what is your current go-to shoe or your favorite shoe to wear?
Honestly, man, it might throw you off. I don't even if I have it. It's Collegium. I recently got on these guys, and they're they make their stuff in Italy, and it's kind of like they have a passion for Jordan ones and stuff like that. So you kind of see kind of where it comes from.
Hmm.
But it's all Italian made. It tells you right there. It's calf leather. I mean it's dope, man. Tons of laces. Like you get like 3, 4 laces, dust bags, everything. Like I'm like, yeah, I think I might rather spend money on something like this that I know, how it's made or built or whatever than, your regular Nike product. But I mean, I still buy Nike here and there, but I think those then were maybe 10, 15 times, last month. It's like they're comfortable, they form my foot, like we're good to go.
Yeah, I like how they got that vintage look on the midsole there. It's a nice little.
Yeah, and they're starting to get bigger. So the guys are starting to, do lows and stuff like that in other models. So I mean, they'll be like, they're knockoff ones. Yeah, but so are like, 15 or 20 other brands out there. So like,
Yeah, Saint Laurent been knocking off the one. you know,
Bape, look, all these other ones, yeah.
I mean, if you really look at it, I mean, Nike knocks off the one and the Air Force One with so many lookalike shoes. Like a Court Burrow is a Jordan One for the famous footwear and rack room shoes customers. So
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't know. I wish people looked at things more that way because the whole mid high conversation. Like I know that the materials are different. They're definitely better on the highs. It's no question. Lows are kind of hit or miss the way the materials flow, but um, I don't really care about wearing mids or highs. It's just a Jordan one to me, but um, at the same time, it's nice to get the quality materials, and that looks like that's why you're wearing those.
No, and that's the thing. I'm like, if I'm gonna spend anything over 200, I might as well get better quality.
Sure.
But like, and I mean, for a while, I was getting all the retro threes, retro fours, retro fives, retro whatever, and I was like, did I really just spend this much on, subpar whatever, materials? Because I mean, sometimes that's what we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started taking the bespoke thing, where I was like, next time I go to New York, I'll make a pair. Okay, next time we go, I'll make a second pair. Next time I go, I'll make my third pair. And I was like, because That's an actual one of one. You know, all these kids are saying how they're so limited and exclusive and stuff. Everybody's got on their feet. Like this was actually made for you
Yeah,
through Nike's Bespoke. You know,
yeah,
I'm like, I mean that when people talk about rarity, that's rarity in itself right there.
yeah. I have a lot of ideas, but I've never had a bespoke. So I hope to do that one day myself.
They shut down, man. Like at least from what I've heard, like from several of the guys, and
Mm,
I think if I remember correctly, like all the ones, all their locations shut down. I don't know if this was Corona, COVID, or I don't know what happened.
probably so.
So I've been waiting to hear, you know, as soon as they open back up, look, we gotta start planning.
Yeah. Well, before we go into the fourth quarter, I do have to ask you, with you being an educator, how do the students respond to your love for sneakers and your place in the culture?
Since I do elementary, man, a lot of them like, you know, the bright colors, like anything yellow, pink, purple, whatever. They don't even know what brand I'm wearing half the time. Like, I mean, unless they have somebody in their family that wears a lot of like, you know, certain kind of shoes, they'll know. But I mean, a lot of my kinder kids are just like, I like your yellow shoes, I like your pink shoes, I like your whatever shoes. And I was like, thanks, you know, whatever. But it is never like I'm trying to go short in front of my little tiny kids because I mean, they just looking at colors, man. Like I remember they used to look at my phones when I was wearing a lot of phones before, and they would be looking like staring all the time, and I'm like, what are you looking at? And it was like those Oregons that had like those little duck feather looking things, right? They'd just be staring at my feet all day. I'm like, okay, I can't wear these anymore. I'm not gonna focus on what I'm trying to teach them, man.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah, I would assume it's different if you got high school kids and middle school kids, you know.
Sure, sure. I should have asked you what level you taught before I asked that.
Yeah, I got little kids. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll go into the fourth quarter, which is sneaker future. Now, um, going into sneaker future, I have to ask you currently, what is your holy grail? Like, what's that shoe that souls and things needs that hasn't been able to put his hand on?
I mean, I probably will never get it, man, because there's only so much you can do through even the bespoke, and it's that crazy entourage one, like the Air Force. Like
Yeah.
it's not happening. And I mean, and my best bet is calling Word Customs, like, and probably go that route, or find somebody that can laser, you know, that whole thing. But as far as the actual shoe, I'm not gonna touch it.
Mhm.
I had one shot at it, and it was in my wife's size, and it was years ago on eBay. And I was like, nah, I don't need that. It's not my size. Even though I think I should have, you know, done it just to have it. And it was I want to say like 450 desktop. That was like a size 6.5. And I was like, that was probably the only shot I had at that shit.
Yeah, no, that's a nice shoe. I mean, seen Mayor show his 1,000 times, and I've seen that episode of Entourage, with Turtle. So I get you. I get you.
I mean, it can be made. Don't get me wrong. If somebody can build an Air Force One, you get
Hmm.
somebody that has the lasering or somebody that can engrave. I think that's possible, man. But it's just, you know, the hoops you have to go through.
Sure, sure. Okay. Um, what direction do you see your collection going in the future?
I mean, I've slowed down just from the amount of stuff I buy. So I mean, I think obviously buying less, but buying again, being way more picky about what I'm picking up. But I mean, my long term goal, and I've kind of played around with this idea with my wife. I want to go ahead and take a shoemaking class so I can either the Air Max route or the Jordan 1 or something like that, and just pretty much start building on my own. Because like you know, you're not happy with what they're dishing out, just make it yourself. Like I think that's why a lot of these guys become recon guys eventually. Like they're just getting tired of seeing the same nonsense come out, you know, with whatever they're putting in the shoes. So I mean, I just got to find the class and make the time and take the cash. But I think it'll happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will too. I'm sure you'll do well with it. I mean, the first time I really learned about that was a couple years ago. I saw some dudes online making their own what is it called? They were making their own airships, long,
Oh, okay.
and the ones that they were making looked more like the real shoe than the one that Nike put out. Because I saw a video where a guy compared them side by side, the pair he made versus the retail pair. So uh,
But have you heard the excuses from Nike? Anytime that people say want the old shape and this and that, and they always claim that it's not possible to get that old shape. I'm like, so did y'all burn the patterns, or did y'all just decide like it's impossible to get this shape back? I mean, I know they got it somewhere, they just refuse to do it, you know?
yeah, I don't ever believe any of the companies when they say they can't or we destroyed the molds or whatever. I mean that airship is such a it's so similar to so many other shoes. I mean, it looks like a Terminator, it looks like a Dynasty, it looks like an Air Force One, a Jordan One. I mean, it looks like too many other shoes that they still make. I mean, it looks like that Sky Force 3/4. It looks
Yeah.
like Court Burn.
Oh, you know that Mac Attack, that's like on people's list too. There's one guy online, I've seen him. He's pretty much has it down to the T. Like he has made pretty much a pattern and mold where that's it. Like he can build it. And I'm like, if somebody can take that time and effort to build it, you mean to tell me Nike can't do it, man?
Of course they can.
Like, come on, right?
Of course they can. Like I really thought that they were going to come back with that shoe when I saw LeBron wear it in the tunnel because I'm like, oh well, LeBron is one of the people I feel like they test the hype with him to see if people are going to
How to do?
care wear this, But
He might wear some Monarch soon. Like, see if they can bring that back again. Like,
and again, the kids aren't going to know, oh, that's John McEnroe's shoe or whatever. But I want them. I need those and the Air Challenge STS. That Air Challenge STS was like the first shoe I remember having as a kid even before Jordans, and that was his shoe. They retroed them.
see, but the good thing with those, if they do retro 'em, if it's not high, look, you're good to go. Like, you'll get them at retail or below. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just being sort of a Nike employee because I work for Converse. Being sort of a Nike employee, it's certain things I don't understand why they are, and like for instance, my favorite Converse shoe is the Converse Weapon.
yeah,
It's the Converse I kind of grew up with in the '80s. I really feel like Nike doesn't bring it back true because it's too similar to the Jordan One and the Dunk.
I mean, I can see that point.
You know,
Yeah.
and because they brought one back where they put the different bottom and the CX foam on it, so it doesn't really look like those shoes, but it's kind of like when they did retro it in '02, it was $64.99. That's what Dunks were. Maybe they feel like they can't sell it for 120, though I think it would sell.
Why not bring it back with the Lakers color, having LeBron playing with the Lakers? You know what I mean? Like, if they really want to do it, you got the perfect scenario. You know?
Yeah, I yeah, I mean that's really something like if I were in charge of Converse retro product, I would bring back all that stuff. It would be all limited. Like everybody's not going to buy a Rodman or Kevin Johnson shoe or you know, but it can be done. I feel like Nike kind of lets Converse get to a certain point and then they just that's enough. I feel like
We're,
that's kind
we're we're gonna give you nothing but checks.
of yeah. And I'll give them props. They do better than Adidas did with Reebok, but working for them, if I was in charge, it'd be a lot of stuff I would at least test and see, if people cared about it to buy it. So
I mean, as long as they create the hype, man, you know how they are. If they get that hype train going, they can sell anything, man. I mean, a lot of these shoes the last few years, that QS label, or or whatever label,
and
or this is only a raffle. You gotta buy it. You gotta get that right now. Like,
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I just I don't know. There are certain things like I asked you earlier. What's something about back in the day that you didn't like? I should have. I meant to follow that up with what's one thing about the game right now that you do like.
I mean, I guess just seeing, how many different types of people are into the hobby. Like. and to their background too, like how they got into it, or how they've changed over the years. 'Cause I think a lot of us have gone from like nothing but runners to nothing but this or nothing but that, or so after a while you just have a bunch of everything. But like I mean I do know some guys that are nothing but Jordans, which to me blows my mind because I'm like, how do you discriminate against all these other wonderful kicks out there? Like I don't discriminate. Like I'm like if I like it, I like it. Like I don't care what kind of shoe it is or brand or whatever. Like I like the shoe. And there's some guys like that, nothing but Nike. Nothing but Adidas, nothing but whatever.
Yeah. I know I'm gonna sound weird saying this. I mean, we're both old, but sometimes I wish I was like that. Only because,
I mean, you'd have a lot more money, I think. But
yeah, like I was telling my wife, I'm like, if I just collected Jordans, this would be a lot easier than it is. If I just collect,
I think you're right though.
yeah,
I think you're right.
because it's like, all right, I missed out on the 11s. All right, well, what's the next Jordan? It's gonna be something, but you're not gonna buy them all because I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that buy every Jordan, but even at the height of my sneaker buying, I wasn't buying every Jordan.
Well, I mean, because you knew you didn't like everything back then. Even though you were into Jordans, you knew you didn't like every single
Yeah,
one. And I think that's when we're true with ourselves. Like, do I really like every single thing coming out every other week?
yeah, and the way people are, or I'll say the way people were, because I don't feel like I hear it as much. People be like, "Oh, well, if Jordan didn't wear it, I don't want it." I'm kind of like that with Kobe, where the color
Okay.
I knew that he wore of specific models mean more to me than ones that didn't.
I can see that too.
You know,
I mean, I can see. I mean, but with Jordans, the thing is, there's a lot that I just completely hated. Like that 18, 19.
hey man, those are good.
Uh, you know, like, but the 23, man, that to me that's a beautiful shoe. The 23, I just like everything about that shoe, the way it looks, like the details, everything. To wear, I don't advise it because it hurts your feet like crazy.
Uh,
Like,
yeah, you said it. That fucking TPU shank, the little part that goes
um,
inside, that digs into my pinky where I can't wear it for more than 3 or 4 hours.
but it is nice to have on the shelf. Like that's just a nice shoe.
Like if I came up on some titaniums, I would still get them, but
Yeah,
you know, yeah, like when the 23 came out, I was kind of in that where I was really going from 11, 11 and a half, more so to 11 and a half, 12. And,
yeah.
the first few pairs that I came into contact with, all I could get was 11s. So once I finally got a 12, I'm like, oh, this is a world of difference here. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
But I mean, like that 17 today, dude, to me, that run is super like small, man. Like that 17 is almost like I'd have to go a whole size up.
yeah.
Like even without the shroud, I was like, golly, that sizing sucks.
Yeah. And I had a hard time wearing the 17 with the shroud, like staying on. So I like how I look with the shroud. It's just like I still have all of my 16s, but because of age, all the shrouds have broken. So I won't wear them
Yeah.
without the shrouds. They look like Jumpmans to me.
Well, I mean, when I wore, I think my Lightning 17, it took like almost 30 minutes to put that on. I was like, yeah, this ain't working.
And
Like,
that's a low top. And that's a low top. But yeah, it's certain like LeBron is a little bit different just because I'm used to him being around, because I'm from Northeast Ohio. But yeah, with certain Jordans, especially certain Kobe's, and this was before Kobe passed. Again, if he wore it or if he did something iconic in it, even if it was a certain dunk or something I remember, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of when I'm wearing that shoe.
no, and it does bring a lot of memories, man. Like even people that are like, let's say Jason Kidd and his retros or Penny, like you think of the year, or you think of like what he was doing in those shoes, or even with Kevin Johnson. I know this might be odd, but him dunking on certain individuals, or like Larry Johnson, like you're like that's the image.
Yeah, like if I think of the Converse running slam, I think of Kevin Johnson dunking on Hakeem baseline in Phoenix. You know, um,
Nate Robinson. What was the first thing that comes to your head?
that kryptonite. I wish I would have been
As,
by that.
as soon as you hear the name, right, you're like, hold on, man.
Yeah. You got a pair. Oh man. You ain't had to do me like that, man. Crack my head on my shelf.
But it's gone through a lot, man. Like it's got so many scars. I mean, that's just how it's gonna stay, you know.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful shoe. Like they said in Cleveland, all we got were the all black ones. We didn't see a kryptonite. You know what I mean? But and that black,
There's a couple of guys out there that had those New York colors, man. Those those to me were harder to get a hold of.
hmm,
Like I've only seen a couple of people that have there's like an orange pair, and there was some talk there was like a bluish pair out there, but who knows if that was real or not. But I've only seen like tiny sizes. I've never seen like bigger sizes.
yeah, that phone positive light. Like I'm surprised they didn't do more with that. You know?
I mean, they could have thrown look 15, 20 different colors, and look, I would have bought it.
Yeah,
Like I love that shoe.
yeah. They said in Cleveland, all we got was the all black one. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, for me, it's the Jordan thing, but it's also if I wasn't into sports, I wouldn't care. Like I wouldn't have the amount of Iversons I have if I didn't love the way that he played. You know. Um, so yeah, I mean, you know, that's all.
I can see the athletes being the bigger influencer than anything else. To tell you the truth, like you're saying.
Yeah,
I remember the Marshall Falk. You know what he was wearing. Jerome Bettis, what he was wearing. Like right then, you're like, okay, I kind of want that. I don't know why, but I kind of want that. You know.
yeah. Those bets, like I my Steelers pair crumbled, but my white, black, and blue pair is still intact. Now you talk about Marshall Falk. I was disappointed in that Air Barrage retro. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't made well. They didn't really do it right. And they waited too long.
So it was just the look. All y'all got was the look.
Yeah,
Because I didn't get one, but I could tell. I mean, it looked good, but I never like tried one on.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had it at Hibbett. It just like it's definitely one of those shoes. It's sort of like the Air Up retro when they retro.
Yeah.
Like I only have it because of what it is, more so than me liking to wear it.
No, and I can see that, man. Because there's some shoes that I bought that I'm like I'm just gonna wear it, and I'm like I can't wear this shoe. I'm like it hurts me every time I wear it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like there might be all these emotions tied to it, but I gotta stop wearing it.
Like the Medicine Ball Trainer 3, I have the 2015 retro. It's like brand new, but it's like that. Every time I wear it, I like reactivate my plantar fasciitis. So I just don't wear it.
And that hurts, man. If people aren't familiar with running injuries and those kind of injuries, that's one you don't want to have, man.
Yeah, like it already comes and goes as it is, and I'm really supposed to wear orthotics anyway. But yeah, like that, and it's just that one. All my other Trainer 3s are cool, but that one bothers my foot. So it's definitely one that I just kind of have because of what it is, and I know that trainers, some basketball, some running, go into what I call the sneaker vortex, to where you just can't find it. It's not about you having the money. Jordans don't really make it to the vortex because if you have the money, you can get anything. You can get Benz, you can get Dornbeckers, you can get anything if you have the money.
Oh, big time, and I agree with you. Like, or it's only a matter of time before it comes back.
Yeah.
Or the crazy thing with Jordan, man, this actually did surprise me. I was convinced that there was going to be some pairs that weren't going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how you kind of convince yourself, like, I need to get it because I'll never see it again. I'm like, I don't even know if that's the case anymore, man. Because, like, not just Jordan, but even Nike as a whole, like, look at the watch that they're on LeBron. Like, I never saw that coming. I never did. Like,
And it's like a regular shoe now.
yeah, it's just, a plain old LeBron. Like, we don't need that.
Well, all of last year was a lot of that. They brought back the Raging Bull, the Clot Air Max 1. They brought back the structure, the infrared structure, which it had retro before, but, 07, 08, it was kind of hard to come by. You just couldn't walk in the store and get it. So,
That Bacon 90,
yeah,
I still can't believe the disrespect they received. Like, that Bacon 90, they can call them bricks or whatever they want to call them, but I'm like, that Bacon 90 on release day, you weren't gonna find it.
yeah, the Tune Max 99, the celery joints. Like,
Yeah.
people been waiting for years for those to come back. They just sat.
It just, gives a plain shoe that you can't resell or whatever the case might be.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm just like, is Jordan Brand really not ever gonna bring like that undefeated, or are they never gonna bring this or that? Who's to say, man? Like they might. I mean, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean that Motorsport 4, even though the release was made like shit, that was a shoe was worth thousands of dollars, and then just became a regular shoe. So
I kind of felt like that with that Motorsport 6.
yeah,
It was like a bunch of hype and this and that, and then it kind of slowly died out for a while. I was like, what happened with that shit, you know?
yeah. That Dave White Jordan 1 was like that too. A lot of hype, regular shoe, regular shoe.
Because I remember having two pairs of those, and I think I traded one. I forgot what I got, but I wore the other one for a good while. But you're right, like you're like, what happened to the all this craze, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then on the flip, you've got Jordans that were obscure that are worth money. Like I was looking for a pair of wool threes, and that stock pair of wool threes is like $400. I'm like, come on, man, that was a sales shoe.
how was that possible though? I don't. Black Cat 4, I think has been. I don't even know how to put that into words, man.
Yeah, I still don't understand that because I was a regular. I still have my pair from '06. Like I wouldn't, I didn't like them enough to buy them over again. I was working for Foot Locker right before the pandemic, and as stupid as it sounds, I just wanted the box because I got my pair early, and I never got a box. Back in the day, you get a shoe early, you couldn't take the box.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the box looks cool. I don't really have to have a new pair, so I'm not gonna wear them. But yeah, I can't believe they're $1,000. Like, how's that possible?
The Chicago one, even without, the documentary, whatever you want to call it, I was like, that's still Jordan 1 made in 2000, whatever. Aside from everything else, that's still like, it just came out not too long ago. Like, before you could find multiple 85 pairs on eBay for maybe 100, $200, you know?
Yeah,
Like, it was just insane to me, man. I was like, 85 pairs were all over eBay in the past.
yeah. I mean,
And it was just like crazy, man.
and they would usually be like on the high end, they might be $600
Yeah,
high end.
almost that stock. Look,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
there was a size 12 I found for a friend one time. It was like 125 ship. I was like, okay, I'll take it.
yeah, like I've always liked the Chicago one more than the Bread. Just because Michael Jordan wore way more. I mean, the '63
Yeah.
game in Boston. I mean, he wore the black toes a couple of times, but it was mainly that Chicago first two seasons. So, that's why I like it. And I used to get clowned for wearing it back in '94, '95. Like, it's an ugly shoe, it's all that red. Now it's the Jordan.
So, but you said around that retro that year though. Remember that's when they were hitting like supercells.
Yeah,
Like a lot of those 94s, even the Black Cement 3 stuff like that, they were like super cells, not like way below retail.
yeah.
So like
My pair was $50 because they retailed at 80. Like if I would have waited another 6 months, yeah, they would probably would have been 20 or $30.
it's crazy. I mean, just think about like all those 94 pairs out there somewhere
Yeah.
that might still be in somebody's storage. Like,
I, I still have my pair, but again, I've worn them so much over the years that they look like an 85. They're still wearable, but yeah.
no, I mean, the only downside to that, man, like whether it's a midsole or sole issue, as long as you can find somebody that can resole it for you, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like that upper might last you forever.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Well, as we wrap up, sir, appreciate you being on here. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
I was thinking about earlier, you know how there's always like your grail and this and that, but being a material thing or what we do, being materialistic, is there one thing out there that you would trade your entire collection for? Like just one big or small thing out there. It could be a car, like it could be a house, it could be whatever. What comes to mind?
It's tough.
I know,
Oh, go.
and I know you got a warehouse, look, or at least pretty much something the size of a warehouse somewhere over there.
It's easy to put value on this is worth this. it would be hard to do that because I would never be able to get back the years I spent building this. So that's where it's tough. Where it's like, yeah, I could trade all these Jordans and I could get a house built to the specifications I would want. Maybe something like that, but it still would be hard to do just based on the amount of time. I mean, I always say my collection started with that Chicago one, but I really started buying shoes in 1997. I still have my first pair of shoes I bought with my own money. It'd be hard to really do that, you know.
The sentimental value and the whole journey, right?
Yeah, the journey itself, like it would really have to be something special, obviously, but I can't even really answer that. I'd really have to give that some serious thought.
I mean, I already told my wife, man, house by the beach somewhere. I mean, I don't have anything worth that, but if it was trade like right here, right now, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, sneakers have been such a large part of my life. That's why it's such a hard question to answer. Um, so yeah, when I think of it, I will message you.
All right, man. Nah, but thanks for having me on, man. This was nice, having this conversation, stuff like that.
Absolutely,
And I love seeing your post, man, because again, you post everything. Like, it's not like you just posting Jordans here and there and stuff like that. I always enjoy, everything you put up.
and I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot, coming from you. There's not many of us left that still do this way. I appreciate the way that you collect, and I'll most definitely be in touch with you. Like, hey man, what you think about this? Anything Mavericks, anything Luca, Jordan, or anything, I'm gonna be at you like, man, I know you get these, so you know.
No, but oh, like I told you before, don't go easy on those dudes in who has the heat. Don't hold back, man.
Yeah, and this is no diss against Coffee with the phone. But I was beating him, and I knew that he really couldn't answer a lot of the questions because when I was looking at his page, I'm like, oh, this dude wears grade school, so I know he's not gonna have any PEs or samples or anything. But I'm
Yeah.
still feeling bad for him, and I kind of let him off the hook with the Jordan question, and then he hit me with a couple of haymakers because I'm like, man, it never should have been that close. But um, my problem right now is I've got to take a full day to just clean up all my shoe areas because it's a lot going on, and I never should have missed the one question I missed because I couldn't get to my shoes because I had like a little avalanche. So I got to clean up all my shoe areas. But I appreciate you saying that.
Nah, get everything in order, man. I'm telling you, look, sweep them. Like, don't even be kind. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right because that's just a whole nother thing. Like I've won a sneaker battle tournament before, but this is like on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? The way this is and some of the questions people are asking. Like I was watching the one that was this past Sunday, and I'm like, shit. Some of these questions, like, and you only had 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, I don't know how I would do it. Some of these questions.
Go find a shoe with 25 different colors.
Yeah, like, did you see the last one?
I saw part of it. Yeah.
Like the dude L Train, he had these New Balance that was a collab with Ralph Lauren. Like, I didn't even know that shit was a thing. Like, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that shoe.
Yeah,
Like I hadn't seen that.
yeah. I would have had to. I would have had to switch because one thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to not repeat shoes, and I'm not trying to use the same questions over again. So, um,
Nah, I think you'll be good, man. Just go through your inventory. You'll be good.
the thing that's tough about it is before we go, it's literally sneakers all over this house. So they're not like in one solid area. So that's where it's tough because between
Like I think Chris, this guy said, take a day off, look, and just organize.
yeah, I'm off on Thursday, so that'll be the day where I get everything in order because the one extra room that's just shoes is fucked up. So I need to get in there.
Nah, but you'll be good, man. Like I'm saying, I've seen so much stuff you posted over time that I don't think there's a question out there you can't answer, man.
I mean, I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you being on, and Again, thank you. You about to watch the Lakers play the Bucks?
Nah, man, I gotta get ready for tomorrow. We got trainings and stuff we gotta do for teachers.
I got you. Well, you have a great day tomorrow, man. Thanks once again, and I will be in touch with you.
Thanks for having me, man.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Everybody in the chat, have a good one. Thank you. Peace.